Ford's foray into the mid-size crossover segment began in 2006. Since then, it's been almost a decade, and the Blue Oval brand is back with a second generation of the Edge for the 2015 model year that promises better technology, more efficiency, and more powerful engines. Now, the Edge sits in between the Escape and the Explorer in Ford's crossover lineup, and for reference, it's about the same size as a Nissan Murano. Ford gave it an extra 4 inches this year, courtesy of an increased wheelbase that allows it to have more interior volume. So let's check it out. Now, as you might remember, the old Edge had a dashboard that was kind of boxy, and frankly, the interior in general had a very low-rent feel. Ford's designers worked to address that by building lines in from the front doors that carry over onto the dashboard to create a cabin that feels like it's built around the passengers. Some of the other highlights include metal accents on the door and dashboard that give the car a much more premium feeling to sit in, although the thing that I'm especially fond of in the new Edge is Ford's latest center stack. You might be familiar with the Fusion, which used a touch interface. Now, Ford went back to its customers, and the feedback told them that really people weren't in love with having that touch interface. So instead, the Edge gets a new version of its center stack that has physical buttons, which is a huge improvement. There are also lots of storage cubbies that Ford added to the second generation car, which gives you plenty of space to store little things, large things, whatever you need. Although a lot of the major changes to the second generation Edge take place where you can't see. Specifically, the base engine is now the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine, and actually it's the second generation of that engine. Most of the internal components on the engine have been replaced, and the most significant change that it gets is a twin-scroll turbocharger that will do a lot to help eliminate turbo lag. Now, if you're wondering, that's the same twin-scroll setup that Ford uses in the 2.3-liter EcoBoost that you'd find in the 2015 Mustang. Of course, you can still get the naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 that was available in the previous generation, although this time it actually comes at a slight price premium over the EcoBoost 4-cylinder. Now, the Sport model is also worth talking about. It comes exclusively with Ford's 2.7-liter twin-turbo V6. One of the other important things to note is that the 4-cylinder engine is now able to tow, and Ford says that it can pull up to 3,500 pounds. But no matter which model you choose, they all come paired with a 6-speed automatic transmission and your choice of either front or all-wheel drive. Now, speaking of the all-wheel drive system, it's new for this vehicle and is able to send 100% of the available torque to either the front or the rear axle, and Ford says it can also distribute power to the left and right using electronically controlled differentials and by applying braking to the wheels as necessary to negate slip and to maintain stability. Now, for the second generation, Ford is sticking with a McPherson strut suspension up front, but in the rear, the company's moving to a multi-link suspension, and that should give it a more refined and capable and also more composed ride. That's what they say, and frankly, I can't disagree with them. I mean, the car really does seem to handle quite a bit better. Now, if that seems a little too geeky for you, take this home if nothing else. Ford expects that roughly half of the second generation Edges that it'll sell will go home with the 2-liter EcoBoost engine. And frankly, you know, the 2.7-liter, yeah, it's going to be more exciting, but the truth is the new 2-liter Turbo 4 has as much power as a V6 and better torque characteristics. If you buy one like this, you're going to be happy. You know, even if engine specs aren't interesting to you, this certainly will be. Ford outfitted this car with all of the modern convenience technologies that you're probably coming to expect in new vehicles. Of course, that includes things like adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring, and pretty much everything else. Now, that's not new stuff, but it is new to the Edge, and so are inflatable rear seat belts and Ford's hands-free liftgate system, which of course allows you to walk up to the vehicle and then kick underneath the rear bumper to open the hatch when you have a handful of groceries. Still not satisfied? Well, get this. Ford is also introducing a brand new technology with the 2015 Edge. Specifically, it's an updated version of their parking assistance software. Now, you might already know that some Fords can literally park themselves. You push a button and pull up to a parallel parking space and the car does the rest of the work. But now it can pull you out of those spaces, which is particularly convenient because a computer can probably park better than you, and sometimes it's tough to get out of those tight sections. Oh, and also, now it can perpendicularly park you as well, which means it can back in. Now, speaking of spaces, the new Edge has an awful lot of storage capacity to offer. With all of the seats raised, it has about 39 cubic feet in the way back, and that means that it offers about as much as you could expect on a Nissan Murano. But if you lay those seats flat, you get 73 cubic feet, roughly speaking, and that puts it ahead of the Nissan. Finally, and perhaps more importantly, Ford priced the new Edge at every trim level so that it comes in just below Nissan's brand new Murano. And if you start equipping options packages, then it starts to play in between those trim levels, but you still end up saving money relative to the equipment that you're getting. It's more robust, better packaged, and more stylish than the model it replaces. But above all, the 2015 Ford Edge is positioned to continue as a segment leader. Holy shit, there were horses in the middle of the road.
Super lonely in Arizona. Oh, what you gonna do, Mr. FJ Cruiser?
All right, ready?